Hey everybody, welcome to Meet the Games, episode 8. I am John from Infinite Lives, and joining me is my partner in crime, Dan Paredes, also from Infinite Lives. How's it going, Dan?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah? We're only going to talk about one game today, Dan. There's only one game.
There's only one game.
Yep.
The game.
The game. The game of all games.
Witcher 3. We've each played about 90 hours of this game. We're nowhere close to finishing the game yet.
Is
Witcher
the third
3.
game in
What?
the Witcher series.
How is it the third game?
I don't know. You played the first
They made
two.
3. Yes, I have played the first two. I have played each of the other Witcher games, maybe a grand total of like 5 or 6 hours each.
So you got a good first impression of both of them.
Yeah, so The Witcher 1 is a very hard game to love. But if you can get over some of the mechanical things, like it's a really cool game because it's got a cool setting.
The story
good
is in the
story.
games is what I think saves those from being just something you don't want to play at all.
Yeah, it was a game that they weren't really. They tried to make it a hybrid between Dragon Age Origins point and turn-based kind of combat with action stuff. So it just kind of ended up looking kind of janky.
Yeah, it felt clunky. I mean, I played a couple hours of it. I remember playing The Witcher when they came out with their enhanced edition.
Yeah, and then The Witcher 2 was, I think, like a big improvement. It was really, you can see that it's kind of transitioning to more of an open world, but it's still a little bit linear and everything. That game was extremely hard because a lot of it, there was no drinking of potions or applying oils or anything while you were kind of moving around or anything like that. You actually had to be in a meditative state, and that's the only time you can use potions and oils and those kind of things. So it was really cool because you actually had to really prepare for each fight. You kind of had to understand what was about to happen and kind of have a battle plan getting into a fight and things like that. The graphics were pretty awesome.
The Witcher 3.
What do we like about this game that's so cool?
This game is a true open world.
Yeah, I think so. Apart from, really different from the other Witchers, this is a really big open world map. I think it's one of the biggest that I played on, at least with the level of detail that it has.
Yeah, when we say open world, we mean each of the zones, I'm going to call them, is an open world.
Yeah.
So each of these are huge. Mm-hmm. Even the tutorial area is huge. So you get dropped in there, and then you get dropped into an even bigger open world. And then there's 2 more of those that are just as big.
Yeah. And I think what's crazy about this game is that just right from the get-go, it makes a very good impression about just how great these graphics are. Mm-hmm. It looks stunning.
Yeah, even on my machine, which is about 5 years old at this point, it still looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just a sunset after sunset, storms rolling in, lightning, rain turning into
snow coming in certain areas, just the water effects, like sailing on the water in a boat while the sun is going down is quite possibly one of the coolest moments I've had in the game.
And it's also just those little world building moments, and it kind of goes to our other point about just kind of the in between stuff.
Yes,
a lot of games nail the big stuff, right?
But here's our set piece.
Yeah, here's our set piece. But what The Witcher does really well is that makes those in between things feel just as important or just as immersive as the big stuff.
Yeah, you got your giant city in Novigrad, which is amazing. It's fantastic. But then you've got your random village off in the the swamps. And that's just as cool because it looks like somebody's actually lived there for generations.
Yeah, everything feels like it's a lived-in place. There's a reason why they put it there. It doesn't feel I'm probably sure they did do a lot of, random generating terrain or something like that. But even just little pathways and things like that, little tufts of grass.
Yep.
Feels like it's been placed there for a reason.
And ruins that you come across, you're like, oh, what was this place? I mean, there was a point where you and I have both seen actual industry areas.
Yes.
So, and it's just oh yeah, you wouldn't think that a game would have this, but this game does because
this is where they make all the dyes for all the shirts that they sell in the big cities.
This is
why a video game would have that, but. And kind of leading us to another thing that we really like is just the quest system.
Yes.
And just kind of how involved and immersive it is. They have a quest system that says hey, do this, and do this, just like any other game. But they make it feel very organic.
Yeah.
When you get You get into an alleyway and then you get ambushed by people.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it's developing. Like it's just kind of
Yes.
happening. You know it's scripted because you've been playing games all your life and you know how games work.
But it's a conversation that just happens. Like, it's not a cutscene where Geralt is the character is talking to another NPC who's a main character. It's just somebody who's in the world who says something offhand, walks off screen, and then that triggers an event.
And I think what happens a lot, and I remember hearing you say this a lot, while we're playing on two separate computers. Yep. but you'll say like, oh wow, I'm finding like another quest because he just goes like, that smells different, or that smells weird, and then you kind of trail off to somewhere else.
You'll find like an abandoned cart on the side of the road and just be like, you'll hit your Witcher senses and you'll see a red highlight and it's like, examine, okay, and he's like, ooh, looks like this person got torn to shreds. Doesn't look like it's natural.
Yeah, and it's that kind of level of detail that's just really consistent throughout, just like how big the world is, how detailed the world is, the characters, the little pieces all kind of fit together to the point where, the main storyline's great.
Oh, it's fantastic.
The main storyline is great, but like, even the side
quests are just as good.
Some of the side quests and even some of the portions of the main quests are actually almost bigger or better than some
whole games.
Games. And that's what's kind of crazy about this game. It's just, it feels like it's a very big labor of love. If you get people who really like what they do and you give them a AAA budget and you just let them go, and this is kind of what you get.
Yeah, and in addition to that, it's not just those quests like going from place to place that's the important thing. And we've talked about this before. It's the moments in between those moments that that this game just seems to do an amazing job of. You've talked about it before. With like Assassin's Creed, and I've played all those Assassin's Creed games. They're very pretty sandboxes with nothing in them.
It feels like there's nothing really behind the curtain. And The Witcher, you can see the edges of the simulation, right? You can see where the game is. It's a game.
Yeah, and you can walk off the map, and it can tell you, oh, you've reached the edge of the world. We're going to teleport you back.
And you can see the limits where you talk to somebody and they say the same exact thing or something like that. But when you're in the moment and you're playing the game, it really feels very immersive.
Yes.
And it feels like it does a good job. It does a good magic trick of like hiding all of that mechanics.
But the game's not perfect, Dan.
Nope, the game is not perfect.
It has what we like to call the open world jank.
It has a lot of jank, and this game has more flaws than a lot of other games that we also like.
Yes, there are lots of polished games out there that play really well and play a whole lot, what you could say better in certain aspects.
Yeah. So, one of the biggest things is just overall bugs. Like, there's a lot of bugs in this game.
Yeah.
There's like weird
scripting bugs,
perspective bugs, crash to desktop. Although we haven't been having that particular problem recently, which is also another thing that we failed to kind of mention is how involved CD Projekt Red is in kind of the development. Yeah, after development.
Yeah, which they've always been with all their games. Like they're notorious for like, okay, we released our game. You would say it's like about 90% good, 10% jank, but they make sure that over the next course of, this is just a hypothetical number, but that last 10%, they make sure we're going to hammer all that stuff out before we like decide to take a lot of money from you or offer you any additional content. So.
And then also what's it's very good that they try to fix all of their games and everything, but I think what also gives them a pass, at least to me, is that they try so much. There's so much ambition, like just naked ambition in these types of games, and you kind of forgive some of those bugs, even though you kind of wished it wasn't there when it shipped and stuff like that. But
and like we said, when you're in the moment, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, when the game is flowing right and doing well, like there's
when my horse walks in between me talking to an NPC. I'm so invested in what's going on, the story actually involved, that I'm like, all right, that's kind of funny. So
and then some of the other problems that kind of arise in this game and things that you just kind of have to get used to. Combat and movement is like kind of a big thing. Yeah. The combat is actually kind of fun because it feels rewarding when you chop a dude in half.
It's felt this is the game that has felt the most rewarding out of the three for combat. Like they've really refined that combat into something that is fun to play.
Yeah.
So when I'm actually in a group of dudes, I'm not getting my ass kicked all the time. Like I actually feel like I can hold my own.
And it kind of feels like a Batman light
Yes.
kind of combat. You know, it's not that same precision, but it feels really good, especially when you're kind of getting in the flow when you got a bunch of signs all upgraded.
And when you have some twitch reflexes, like you could get through this game just hacking and slashing your way through it. But the cool part about it is digging deeper into it and using the crazy like oils and potions and all that stuff to make the combat like suited to how you want to play it.
Yeah, so you know, it's more simplified than The Witcher 2.
Yes.
In the fact that like The Witcher 2 is really all about that preparation, and if you're not prepared right, you're never gonna finish any kind of fight well. And this game like loosens those bounds a little bit and kind of
makes it a more accessible game.
I think it makes it more accessible, makes it a more entertaining game.
But let's get to the worst thing that we've encountered in this game.
The worst thing in the game really is that inventory system. It just kind of doesn't make any sense.
No.
It's kind of all over the place. I don't even know how they categorize stuff.
They just put 5 tabs in it and went, okay, we're gonna put this, and here.
Yeah, the biggest heartbreak is really just the second tab in inventory.
Which is your books and your potions.
Yeah, I don't know why books, potions, and bombs. I have no idea why they're all there together. But if you don't start getting rid of books and parchments and
letters,
like that, you're gonna scroll halfway down the screen just to get to a potion.
Yeah, I would love somebody to do an art piece on like what Geralt would look like if he actually had all this stuff on him at one point. Yeah. Because I think my Geralt would look like a man with a 900-pound backpack on his back.
Yeah, and I think some of the things that we're marking as flaws and things like that are things that you can kind of get used to. Mm-hmm. And it's also kind of telling about I think the game itself, where with the thematic elements and those kind of things, it's something that you kind of have to really immerse yourself in. Mm-hmm. It's not something that you play for 15 minutes.
No.
It's not something you play for 20 minutes. It gets better the longer you play.
Yeah, and I will say that. I mean, like the first maybe hour or so, I was like, all right, is this going to be good? Am I going to like this? And kind of
this feels janky. It feels
a little janky. I don't like the way he moves. Like Roach,
then
the horse.
you kind of get used to it, and you're just like, okay, now I'm just in this. I got to scroll past all of my books, and then I get to my potions.
Yeah,
that's just kind of what I do now.
And then you figure out 2 weeks later that you can hit a button to consume it in the menu. Pro tip.
Press X to consume.
Yes.
So let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
The Witcher 3 is a good game.
Yeah,
it's a great game, I think. At this point, I think we have to say it's a great game.
It's fantastic. And even for people who've never played the first 2 games. The cool thing is that, we talked about this. I went in and I went, okay, I'm going to read the primer on the game, get the story up front, and then I bought the game and I started playing it. I was like, all right, I'll see where this goes. I'm now like 97 hours into that game. I'm getting close to the end of the main storyline, and
there's a lot of stuff out there still.
I don't want it to end. I want more quests. I want more Witcher contracts.
Yeah, it feels like it's so well made that even quest that you're 10 levels over,
you still want to do.
You still want to do because the story is pretty.
Yeah, good. I'm only getting 5 experience for half the quests that I've got, and it's like I still want to do them because the storylines for them are so well done.
Yeah, I think also one of my takeaways with playing The Witcher 3 is that CD Projekt Red, just kind of threw down the gauntlet.
They did
for open world games and like immersiveness. Not just graphical wise, but just kind of like the quest and how they work and stuff like that. So
we were all high on Grand Theft Auto 5 when it came out. We played it and we're like, that's amazing.
I think that's a great game.
Yeah, but now like this, I'm like...
Yeah, this is the new, I think, standard bearer for open world games.
Yeah.
And it also makes me... it makes me hopeful for what Fallout 4 is going to do. Because I hope that Bethesda has been looking at these types of games, looking at Grand Theft Auto 5, and going like, we really got to up everything. Yeah. Because... I mean, I think people will still like that game if it's the same like Fallout 3 and stuff, but you gotta kick it to the next level because this game really kind of defines like what an open world game is.
Yeah, and I haven't felt this way about an open world since a game like Mass Effect. Like I haven't felt this way about a role playing style game since that game. Yeah. Like the world that they've drawn me into is I'm invested in now.
Yeah.
And I want to see where they're going to go with this.
Yeah.
Which means I'm probably going to end up buying the expansions, Dan, which means I'm going to get lots more content.
We're going to be playing this game forever.
Yeah.
So The Witcher 3, definitely on the short list of top games of the year.
If not the best game I've played this year.
It's going to be very hard to top this.
Yeah, it's on every platform, PC, Xbox One, and PS4. Yeah, it's just, you got to buy it. So that's going to wrap it up for this special Witcher edition of Meet the Games. It has been a pleasure to tell you about Geralt of Rivia.
Long live Temeria.